Hello, I'm Chad Kay, and today I will be discussing the topic of rock and roll. Each week, I will cover a new topic. The aim of this podcast is to share fascinating facts about various topics, all accompanied by calming, soothing music in the background. My hope is to help you unwind and enter a peaceful state of mind, or assist you in drifting off to sleep after a long day. So find a cozy spot or lie down. Close your eyes if you would like, and immerse yourself in these relaxing facts. Rock and roll is a popular music genre that emerged in the United States in the late 1940s and early 1950s. It evolved from various African American musical styles, including jazz, rhythm and blues, boogie-woogie, electric blues, gospel, and jump blues, as well as from country music. Although its foundational sounds were present in blues recordings from the 1920s and country music of the 1930s, the term rock and roll was not commonly used until 1954. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, rock and roll refers to a music style that began in the mid-1950s and eventually evolved into the broader global genre known as rock music. Some dictionaries also treat rock and roll and rock music as interchangeable terms. The phrase rocking and rolling originally described the movement of a ship at sea, but by the early 1900s, it had taken on other meanings. In black church traditions, it referred to religious ecstasy, and it was also used as a euphemism for sexual activity. One of the earliest known uses of the phrase in a musical context came from Welsh sailor William Finder, who sang about rock and roll in a traditional folk song recorded in the 1930s. The origins of rock and roll are widely debated, but most agree it developed in the southern United States from a blend of African musical traditions and European instruments. As many African Americans moved to cities like Memphis, Detroit, Chicago, and New York, black and white communities came into closer contact, sharing and influencing each other's music and fashion. Radio and records played a major role in spreading both black and white music styles to wider audiences. White musicians adopting jazz and swing from black artists helped pave the way for cultural exchange and musical innovation. Rock and roll's direct roots lie in rhythm and blues, once called race music, combined with boogie-woogie, gospel, and country. Jazz, blues, gospel, country, and folk were all important influences. There is debate over whether rock and roll was simply rhythm and blues rebranded for a white audience, or a true hybrid of black and white musical forms. In the 1930s, swing and jazz music introduced African American sounds to white audiences. Songs like Big Joe Turner and Pete Johnson's Rollin' Pete from 1938 are seen as early examples of rock and roll. During the 1940s, small jazz and blues bands emerged, using electric guitars and drums in place of big band horns. Jump blues, popular in the Midwest and West Coast, featured guitar riffs and high-energy performances that strongly influenced later rock styles. guitarist Chuck Berry helped shape rock and roll by adapting blues music into a more aggressive, guitar-driven sound. Though some credit Berry with inventing rock and roll, earlier black guitarists like Gory Carter, Gatemouth Brown, and T-Bone Walker developed similar styles before him. The rise of rock and roll coincided with major technological advances, including electric guitars, amplifiers, 45 RPM records, and modern microphones. Independent record labels like Atlantic, Sun, and Chess helped bring this new sound to niche audiences, and radio stations played a key role in reaching white teens. It was this demographic's interest in black-influenced music that helped define rock and roll as a distinct genre. Because the genre developed gradually, there is no single song that can definitively be called the first rock and roll record. However, early contenders include Sister Rosetta Tharpe's Strange Things Happening Every Day from 1944, Arthur Crudup's That's All Right from 1946, Hank Williams' Move It On Over from 1947, Fats Domino's The Fat Man from 1949, Gory Carter's Rock-A-While from 1949, and Jimmy Preston's Rock the Joint from 1949, later covered by Bill Haley. By the late 1950s, rock and roll's original wave began to wane. Key figures left or faced personal setbacks. Little Richard turned to religion. Elvis Presley was drafted. Jerry Lee Lewis faced scandal. And artists like Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash. The payola scandal, Chuck Berry's legal troubles, and other issues signaled the end of an era. As the 1950s gave way to the 1960s, rock and roll took on a more commercial and polished style. Emphasis shifted to appearance, leading to the rise of teen idols like Ricky Nelson and Frankie Avalon. In Britain, American rock and roll quickly gained popularity due to shared language and culture, especially among youth subcultures like the Teddy Boys. British musicians drew inspiration from American blues and folk, especially through skiffle music led by Lonnie Donegan. Films like Blackboard Jungle and Rock Around the Clock also helped spread rock and roll's influence overseas. Rock and roll transformed fashion, speech, values, and lifestyles. It may have supported the civil rights movement by bringing black and white youth together through a shared love of music. The songs often explored relatable teenage themes: cars, school, romance, and rebellion, and gave voice to subjects previously considered taboo, such as sexuality. Rock and roll played a key role in shaping youth identity, especially among baby boomers, who embraced it as a central part of their subculture. Through records, radio, TV, and film, the genre defined a generation's style and worldview. Older generations often viewed this new youth culture with suspicion, especially because it cut across racial and social boundaries. Okay, that wraps up my talk about rock and roll for this week. If you have enjoyed this episode of Relaxing Facts, please consider subscribing or leaving a comment. I hope your day is wonderful, whether you are unwinding after a busy day or just relaxing with some pleasant listening. Thank you for joining me. I am Chad K, and I look forward to seeing you next time.